Right. Hi, everyone. Okay, so this is a live stream. Straight from yours truly. Okay, so I'm not very good at doing this sort of thing, but I will endeavour to make this as painless as possible. Okay. Right. Some of you have seen the YouTube of the last one. I've just got confirmation that I'm on the student paramedic course for the University of Cumbria. That's amazing. Hey Keith, how you doing, mate? Thank you, Gary. That's really awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, big hugs to you guys. If you have any questions, I will endeavour to answer them for you. I have got about an hour, so if you can hang on this mug on your screen at the moment, then I'll try and answer your questions. I had some questions in the previous YouTube. I don't know why I can't answer some of them because it's not coming up on my stream. I just found it on an email. I had one from Mia, and she was asking about, is the driving course really difficult? And about C1 licenses. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Yeah, so when, obviously I've got grandfather rights because I'm quite old. Hey, Joe. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you're looking to go onto the paramedic, perhaps. Congrats. Thank you so much. Okay, Joe, I'm hoping these videos are helpful for you. And I'm glad, Gary, you're enjoying your role as well, so that's awesome. Just a quick thing for people who haven't gone onto the course yet. Let me just put this out there quickly. When you are looking to apply for ECA job or any job in the ambulance service, grandma writes, yes. Thank you, Keith. Yeah, so when I took my license, I had C1 automatically on there because of grandmother rights. Thank you, Keith. But now you have to take an additional part to your driving license, which is a C1, which allows you to drive the vehicles, 7.5 ton upwards, really. It's like a small minivan. So that's something I believe that at the moment the people have to do themselves. So you have to self-fund that. So not only do you have to drive on a full driving license, on a manual license, you also need to get your C1 license even before you apply. I'm doing C1 right now. There's some delays right now as the DVLA, the backlog training companies aren't open in April. That's great to know, Joe. Thank you. Okay, so someone's doing a C1 right now and there's delays. Okay. Joe, if you find any good updates on what's happening with the C1 right now, please do update it on the blog because I'm sure lots of people are going to be needing that. Self-fund, Keith has had self-fund my C1. I couldn't start my job without it. Yeah, that's right. They need you to be able to drive first. And the reason for that, guys, is because when you go onto your application for your ECA, they will sit down and ask you to do like a little driving test to make sure that you can drive normally in a van, and they'll get you to look ahead and make sure it's just like a driving test normally in a car. Got mine through the army. Oh, well done, Michael. Yeah, I don't think tanks go on these roads very well. Joe self-funded. Yep. Okay. So yeah. So get your, when you do the test, it's just like a normal driving test you have with a regular person on the road, with views that if you pass the test, they're looking for safety. They're looking for you to know what's ahead of you and just a basic understanding and of safety and how you move your van around. So you'll be in an unlighted, I believe, white van, which is the trust zone van, or it could be even a car, and it depends on which trust you're with. But most likely you're going to be in a van because you need to get that spatial awareness of going around corners and reversing and things. Okay. So once you've done that, and they say, "Yep, you passed," I believe there's also from memory, a driving theory test. I think it's a very basic one. I seem to remember I did like what my signs were and what the basic questions were, for your theory. as a basic driver. Okay, and this is before you go onto the ECA course and before you start your blue light. Gary says, on your upload screen in the comment section, you need to highlight show all comments as oh, right. Oh, thank you, Gary. See, I'm still new at this, guys. I got to get into the 21st century. I just found out what was it called? I can't think of the name that my boy had on his phone the other day. I think, oh my gosh, not my boy, a friend of mine had on his phone, and it's completely different. So bear with me, I appreciate it. Okay, so when you go for an interview, try and make sure you have a C1 license, or at least let them know you're going for your license. Okay. There's lots of student paramedics out there who come up from university doing the paramedic course, and they haven't got C1 license, so they're not allowed to drive the vehicles until that C1 license has been confirmed. And then they also have their blue lights as well. So with the blue light side, it's basically you go wherever the test centre is. I mean, I had to go to Taunton, and I'm in Christchurch, so it's about a 3-hour drive at that point. And it's part of my my interview process. So I had to do my fitness part of it, so the up and downstairs, and a few other bits and pieces which I can't really relay upon because it's obviously hush hush. But you know, with my sort of size, I could do it. So I'm sure anyone else bigger than that can do it also. The driving, always remember glasses, because I forgot my glasses the first time round. I couldn't see the registration number, the one in front of me. Like, actually, let's go back to the classroom and get my glasses. So the actual blue light one is a 3-week course from memory, and that one I did in St Leonard's. You have, I think, like 16 questions a day to know the answers of, and then at the end of the course you have, I think, 32 questions, and each of those questions are from those 16 questions a day. Now, because of my memory problems, I was terrified I was going to forget all of it. So what I did was, they were very good. They like told you were able to find out what the questions and answers were before you went home, and then just memorize them. Find a way to memorize those 16 questions and answers. And if you do that every night, and then you do the exam or a little test the next morning, yes, you've got them right. Or if you're not quite right, then you would revise again. So by the end of the 3 weeks, they will then take these 32, 35 questions, whatever it is, for your theory, if you blue light theory, of all the questions you've already done and knew the answer of. So if, you should be able to pass it that way. The driving side, I found quite daunting, I have to say, for myself. A lot of people find it was okay. Some of it found it was daunting as well. What they do, they find out where you are, what your knowledge is on driving generally, and they kind of knock you down a little bit, but not like an army-wise, not like they probably do with yourselves, but enough to think, okay, well, this is how you used to drive, and this is how your driving instructor drove. Now, forget all that. This is how we want you to drive. And one of my most terrifying parts was that I was in an unmarked RRV, unmarked car, and the instructor told me to go on the right-hand side, 100 miles an hour, with oncoming, this like juggernaut coming towards me, and I was a bit squeaky bottom, completely, and that was in the first week. Oh, it was really scary. But what they're trying to do is show you can do it and give you the confidence. They're not going to put you in harm's way deliberately and like that, because they think if you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it. But they are seeing your strengths before you see it for yourself. Thanks, Gary. Is that because of the squeaky bottom part, or just because I was terrified? I'm in the limelight, firing range here, aren't I? So they'll find out where your faults are. They'll find out what you're scared of, what you're not scared of, and what your strengths and weaknesses are. And they'll build on that. And if you're not sure, just keep on asking. And at the end, thanks, Gary. And at the end of it, they'll give you the test. And the test, I think for me, it was about half an hour. It was so quick. So you have to come out of the test centre. You'll have a completely different person who tests you. So the person who's training you is not the one who tests you. He's going to be independent. Okay, so you can't offer him chocolates or beer or whiskey or anything like that. Not that I tried, but And he'll take you out, and he'll go through, can you just go down the road? Can you take the first left? Can you take the right? Okay, and now I'd like you to put your blue lights on when it's safe and clear to do so. And even though you're not actually on a blue light emergency, you still use the blue lights, you still use the sirens, and you still have to, because of the theory beforehand, you'll know when to put them on and when to take them off, because you're using you're using exceptions for that. They are very good, to be fair. They just want to be the best you can be, also save the money in the fuel. Yes, Keith, I think you're right on that, mate. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm hoping that's kind of answers some of the questions with the theory and the driving for blue light. If you fail, okay, which some people have done in the past, and I was failing myself of the driving. I had to say I was failing myself because my confidence would hit back so badly with the person who was currently training me. And also because I had to take out the 2 kids because they weren't very well at the time. I asked for 2 extra days of training, and I had a different person, and within half an hour to an hour, my confidence was right back. And he said, "Don't know what you're worried about. Just go for the test. I'm sure you'll be right." And I was, I slammed it. It's fine. So if you fail first time in theory, or first time you fail with your driving, find out what it is that you did wrong, really, really work on it, and then do it again. They don't want you, as they say, they don't want you to be to fail. Okay, it is too much money for them to do that. They spend a lot of money and investment to do this. They're paying you, when you're taking your course as an ECA, they are paying you the box standard rate. I think is it 16,000 start off with, and you got to 17,000, 18,000 when you after 6 months. I can't remember how much it is, but they pay you obviously a monthly salary. So you're not doing it for free, as it were. And then, yeah, that's it. And you get your license and you get a little certificate saying, well done, you passed your ECA. And then the next shift is you're on your own in your station, and you'll be third manning for a bit. What my really massive advice there is, when the first couple of weeks you're working as an ECA, let the paramedic know what you have done, okay? Not what you've not done, because you've probably done massive that you haven't done, okay? So if you've not done anything at all, say it's my first day here, I'm really, really, really nervous, I don't know where things are, let them know, be honest, be really honest, because they need to know what skills you've achieved and what you don't know, okay? As you get further into your ECA work, you will find that there's some things, you might have given Internox, you might have given O2. So what you can say to the next paramedic, oh, my first thing I did today was I did Internox, so I know where the Internox is, or I give an O2, so I can do this. That means the rest of it you don't know, okay? I felt like a proper spare part there. Yeah, but I quickly got over the edge and got stuck in. Absolutely, Keith, that's exactly how I felt. I felt as green as my uniform. And I think I felt like that the first 6 months, the first 6 weeks I was really green, really green. And the first 6 months, I kind of started feeling, I know a little bit, I know where things are kind of, but if it's an emergency, I'm going to panic a little bit, so I'm just following the coattails of the paramedic. Lauren says, would you say PTS is a good place to start? Yes, absolutely. Or straight to ECA. I've got no healthcare experience or working with lots of people. I'm worried I'll be working on my own a lot soon after joining. Lauren, that is awesome. PTS, Patient Transport Service, or becoming an ambulance care assistant, is what I did at first of all, is a really good start. It's very, it's not even stressful, You basically, you have a rota, you have a vehicle which you'll take every time. You've got a list of people who you are going to pick up, and you have the list of addresses, and SatNav will tell you how to get there, or you use your own SatNav if they haven't got it, because Andy like the one I had. And then you pick up your patient, and they'll be walking. There'll be somebody, or might be in a wheelchair, but they'll be good enough that they're not in any state of mind that they're going to end up dying on you. Okay, but you will learn first aid from them as well. You take them to the day centre and you bring them back again. but the communication will be good for you, the driving will be good for you, and also the first aid will be good for you. So absolutely PTS if you can. If not, ECA is brilliant as well. Right, what does Gary say? Yeah, my first shift I was getting wrong, not passing him an Uber lock. I was thinking it was an Uber lock. Yeah. Okay, that's actually I think a question you get on the ECA passport, I believe, if you know what one of those are. So that's pretty good to look up. Gary says, has said a little. Had he said a little red syringe cover might help? Yeah. So if you don't know what something is, just be honest and let them know that I don't know what an Uber lock is. Where do I find it? What does it do? You know, and you know for next time. Keith says over in Wales. Oh, hi, Wales. I've been there. Lots of sheep. We are known as UCS, Urgent Care Assistance. That's your version of ECA. Ah, good starting point for working way up. Brilliant. Okay, well, I've learned something today then. Keith, I didn't know it's called a UCS. Yeah, awesome. Okay. You're welcome, Lauren. No problem at all. Hey, Mia, or is it Maya? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. This is this dyslexia of me. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Could I ask some questions? Of course you can, lovely. Absolutely. Go far away. You probably missed my one about the C1 license and the driving and the course. So look back on this video if you want to have those answers. There's no problem at all. I'm also going to do one about about age as well. About if you're just coming out of college, being 16, you know, what's the best thing to do if you want to do an ECA or paramedic. I mean, absolutely try and find something that you can use as communication. So do some care work, you know, work in a gym. As long as you're communicating with people, that's the biggest part of this job. It's communicating. It's not the drugs. It's not the, and I mean not drugs, I mean the drugs that the paramedic uses and the gases and stuff we use. It's not that. It's not knowing everything, how the body works. The biggest thing that I can give you to say that you need to do is being able to communicate. Be able to communicate with someone who's really young, you know, communicate with the parent of a baby, communicating with someone, you know, a teenager, your own years, even someone who's in the 90s and the 100s, you know, find a common denominator that you guys can communicate to that person with, and then you'll get this really good rapport with the patient. If you can get a good rapport, and then they give you confidence, and you can give them confidence that you're listening to them, you're understanding what their problem is, and then you'll just carry on from there. Don't ever look at an old person and go, oh, they're really old. Well, I don't know. How am I supposed to talk to an old person? Why just talk to like a human being? You know, have a look around the room. If they've got pictures of, I don't know, awards when they're in the army, or you know, if they've got knitting, or just something that, oh, that's really nice. Did you do this yourself? Or just pick up something which gives you like a neutral base for communication, and then you can carry on from there. You know, obviously, if the people start screaming because they're in pain, then talk to them gently and try to calm them down. So, you know, you're in good hands. Right, Nia, what do you say? Laura, don't worry, I always look at your videos. Okay, so question, okay, you obviously probably know Zoya, the 15-year-old. Oh, yes, she is in school right now, and she wanted to ask what she can do to be an ECA. She got a grade 4 for English and Science, grade 5 for Maths. I'm not sure what that is now, sweetie. Again, I'm like the grandmother side of it. I was used to having O levels and CSEs. I'm guessing, is that GCSE grades? All I know from, because I had to do the functional skills in the end, because with the dyslexia and everything else going on, I only got quite bad English and Maths. So I took in functional skills, which is a GCS between A and C, which I think is between a 1 and a 3 now. I believe someone please make, if you know the differences in that. It's the first 3 sections of the GCSE. Yeah, like a level. YHGCSE, I don't know what that is, sweetie. But you need to have, for an ECA, currently, you need to have a GCSE in English and a GCSE in Maths. And it depends on the trust that you go for. Like, for example, mine's South West Ambulance. So if you go to SCAS or South Central, if you go somewhere else, they might ask a different grade, or they might ask for a science. And so I would say just talk to the HR department, talk to the people the people who are doing the employment side of it. Ask them, what grade do you need? If you haven't got it, then a functional skill is free from the government sites you have online, because if you haven't got anything like a degree or anything, they'll give it to you freely. In the end, I had to pay for mine because I wanted to get my functional skills out of the way before April started, and the functional skills that was free didn't start until September, so I would have lost this opportunity. Gary says, breakout tick. Oh, thanks so much, Gary. Appreciate it, mate. Keep on watching and I'll think of you as well. Thank you. It was a slang meaning. Oh, I see. Okay, thank you, Mai. So Joe says, the trusts I'm looking at are C grades, GCSE plus C1. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm guessing if it's between A and C, if it's between an A and C GCSE level, you'll get it. They just want an English and a maths generally. Potentially, if they can get a science in there as well, that'd be great. But they'll teach you the biology of that. Is it true that you guys get to keep your ambulance uniforms? I have a stack of uniforms. Yes, they give you uniforms and you keep on ordering more. I think they give you 3 shirts initially and 2 trousers, 1 jacket, 1 over jacket, pair of boots, things like that. Boots you can ask. You don't have to pay for boots from my trust. Again, check your trusts. It could be that you might have to pay for your boots, but I don't think so. Every year I change my boots because they get ruined or whatever, and then I use them at home. So you keep everything basically. I'm so lucky. Why am I so lucky, Maya? Is it because we keep our uniforms? We keep our uniforms whilst we're working for the trust. If you leave, you obviously have to give them all back again. Laura says, sorry, one more thing. Don't worry, you keep on asking. It's no problem. I missed most of the C1 talk. Do I need to pray privately and get my license before applying PTS? I don't know. I don't know if you need a C1 for PTS. I'm not sure. For C1, I believe you do have to pray privately. That the trust or SWAS doesn't pay for the C1 license. Again, double check with who you're wanting to work with. They might offer you a discount, or they might offer you, to pay for it anyway. I don't know. I'm sweetie. I don't know. So if anyone goes for a C1 license, just if someone could message Maya on that one on the tube, that'd be great, and let her know. Key says, I'm tripping over my uniform daily. Do you get that much? Yeah, I do. I'll tell you what I do, guys. I put a bag of uniform in my car. I've got some in my locker in the station, and I've got a whole stack here as well. Do you know why? Because you go to a job and it can be quite messy. In every situation, it could be messy. You want to change your uniform if it gets messy. If you can't wipe it off and it's not very pleasant, you can ask control, say, can I just have a stand down? I've got to change my uniform because I can't go like this. And if you haven't got it in your car and you haven't got it in the station because you're too far away, you can actually go home, but you have to okay that, or somebody might give you a spare one on station. So make sure you have plenty of changes of clothing, of full clothing, including underwear if possible, somewhere. I can't reiterate enough how many times I've been in water, and also trousers got soiled, legs got soiled in some respects, and it's very unpleasant sometimes. Okay, so Georgina, hello. I want to apply for SWAFT, okay, FD as an ECA, but I don't have C1, which is so frustrating. I get it. I really understand. I want to get this done ASAP, but I'm struggling to find driving schools that provide during lessons. Right, driving schools. If you're in, all I can suggest is have a look online, or again, have a look, ask the people on the trust, who do they use, who would they recommend as a driving school, even asking your training centre, the people who teach the blue light, who would they recommend, who can do a C1 licence for you. It is difficult to find some, but there are out there, because there's so many police out there, there's so many fire brigades out there, and they all use the C1 license, and they always use the smart way of driving, which is another thing you have to learn. Okay, so let's have a quick. I'm losing myself here. Okay, so Georgie says, do you have any advice? I want to stay for the whole stream, but I'm on lunch break. Oh, I believe you can save anyway. This is going to go on. It's live now, but I believe it gets saved anyway, Georgina. So you go have your lunch, sweetie. If you've got any questions, just pop me an email or pop me a question on YouTube, and I'd be more than happy to answer it for you, sweetheart. Okay. So Keith says, no PTS is normal license. As their vehicles are under 3 tons, anything over C1. Thank you very much, Keith. Okay, there you go. From horse's mouth, PTS, you do not need a C1 license. For those people who want to do patient transport services before they do an ECA thing, just to get some communication, get some driving experience, you do not need a C1 license. Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Keith. I really appreciate that feedback. Okay, Joe, thank you for answering Georgina. Okay, Joe, and thank you for answering Lauren. Sorry, Zoe has loads of questions because she's so competitive. Please don't mind her. She wants to ask that when she's older, will the EC job be... You're very welcome, Georgina. Yeah, I believe that ECA jobs are going to be out there for quite some time. The way the trust works in most trusts, from what I gather, you always have a paramedic and you have someone to assist them as an ECA. Paramedics do work on their own. They work on the car on their own unless the car's been removed. Or they can do double para, but it's more like they need the ECA, because the ECA actually helps them with the, grabbing stuff off the bags, helping them with the CPR side. Just generally, they just help. An ECA, remember, is someone who does exactly the same work as a paramedic. However, ECAs do not have a registration, okay, so they're not marked off on the HCPC as registered clinicians, and they cannot do drugs, which is in the yellow drug bags. All they can do is the gas and air, and they can only do the oxygen, and only use certain things like an OP or an MP to help with the breathing, okay? The paramedic has all the other gizmos that they use, which is why they got the registration, okay? But when you, for attending, an ECA attends, an ECA drives, an ECA checks the bags, you know, we do everything that a paramedic does as a job. We work symbiotically together, as it were, and we're a really good asset for that paramedic. And it's not paramedics and ECAs, we are a team, okay? Sometimes you might find you have ECAs working together on PTS. You know, if you have 2 ECAs working together on a normal frontline yellow, ambulance, that then automatically gets changed to a patient transport service because there's no paramedic on board. And you have 2 ECAs working together and trying to figure out what to do with a patient. But not to worry, because you can always phone a friend. You can contact control saying, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck. Use your mobile, whatever, contact your OO, contact control. They will let you know if you get stuck at all. If you're both brand new, which would be unlikely, but if you're both brand new, they've got someone to help you with. Normally, if you have an ECA and an ECA together, they'll pay you someone who's been doing it for some time, and then you work off them, if that makes a sense. Okay, so I'm losing people here. Hang on a second. Okay, so you're answering each other's. That's great. You're very welcome, Georgina. Okay, so hi Tim. I did my C1 a couple of weeks ago. Just called up Nearway. Highly recommended them. They're excellent and explained. I have a drop off of Wiscas. Awesome. Well done, Tim. I am so proud of you, mate. So Nearway, is that your C1 trainer? Is that right, Tim? If it is, obviously there's some other people who might be interested in that. Georgina says, I think the difference between trusts, but SWAT require you to hold the C1 license for application, which is a shame, but I also understand. Yeah, I think generally they'd like you to do that now as soon as possible. So the thing is, you've got time. You know, there's time to do it. Honestly, there is always time to do it. Mia says, I was thinking last night, I'm not very good at knowing where people live, and we'll sat nav in the ambulance to guide us to people's homes. Yes, I am the worst person when it comes to knowing where I'm going on a road. Hats off. If someone says go down this road, and then if a road I know, and then I'm veered off just one road away, I'm lost. If someone says come back the way you come, I'm lost. Even if I've done it 100 times, my memory is not like that. This is what I'm saying. I have this terrible memory. I can tell you where actors have done, with a film back in 20 years ago, and if they've done such and such, that's a skill that no one really needs. But I can't tell you, how to get to one place. So it's probably a good idea to learn what they call the artery roads, the main roads. But even then, I can't picture it. I've got to physically go on there. But if you've got problems like that, let them know. Obviously, sat-nav is awesome, but you have to be careful because sometimes it can be a little bit dodgy. You're going down a one-way street and it's actually for a car, not a vehicle, a big bus vehicle. But if you need to use your phone as a sat-nav, as long as you're not touching it, you can put it onto your dashboard. It doesn't move around. I shouldn't see there's a problem, but again, check with your trust as well. Okay, so let's have a quick look. What else we got here? All right, Georgina, take care. Lovely to speak with you. Thank you again for coming along. Okay, so Tim says yes, near-way driving training in the Banbury area. Where's that, Tim? Is that somewhere near? Is it? I don't know where. Is it north, south, east, west? Where's that near? Is that Yorkshire? Is that Sherwood? Is that Cornwall? I have no idea. Yeah, I feel you, even though I don't know my roads. I feel you, even I don't know my roads. Yeah, it's fine, Mia. It's fine, okay. And when you get to know your area, it can become easier. I mean, I've been 3 years in the ECA, and I've only now just started figuring out what roads go where. So I really won't worry about it too much. And then when you got to do a oh, thanks, Tim. Okay, north of Oxford. Oh, crikey, all the way up there. Okay, I've been there once and I got lost. Yeah, so if you're in an area, say for example for me Christchurch, so I have Bournemouth, I have Poole, I have all those sort of surrounding areas as well, and on the odd chance we might have to go to Southampton, so the sat nav will take us all the way to Southampton. But on a PTS you'll be local to your area, and you'll start remembering and learning the roads when you have specific patients per day or per week, and so you'll start remembering, oh well, I recognise that sort of object there, that next one's going to be a turn to the left or turn to the right. I mean, even now I will go through a road and think, oh, I had a patient down there, I'm sure I did. I don't know who it was, but I'm sure there's a patient down there. So you'll get to recognise roads, and not necessarily the name of them, but you'll start recognising where you need to go or how to get there. And once you know one part of the road, you learn a second part of the road, and you think, oh, okay, I know how to get to a certain part, but now I'm going beyond that. So you start learning. I mean, the job, you're constantly learning. There's no stopping for learning. And I always thought that the day I stop learning, the day I get bored and think I've got nothing to learn, is the day I should leave. I don't think I'm ever going to leave the service. I'm going to be retiring, I think. Okay, right. So Mia says, do you guys work with different people every day? When you are on relief, so you don't have a rota, you will work with all sorts of different paramedics. They'll be your colleagues, and soon you'll end up working with the same paramedics over a short period of time or a long period of time. And if you've got a rota, which means that you know what you're doing from here up until a year's time, you'll be working with the same paramedics in that rota. When I'm relief, I could be working with, 20, 30 different paramedics. The good thing about that is they teach you different things, okay? The offside of that is you don't know how each of them works, okay? So, for example, when I was on my rota and I had a paramedic with me all the time, I knew that they wanted to hand a cannula to them flaps down and cap on top and then open it up and give it to them sort of thing. And some paramedics don't like that. So what you can do is saying, okay, if you've never worked with a paramedic before, note down their name. So I always carry a little diary like this. And I always put down in the diary who I'm working with that day. And then in the bottom of it, there's just notes how I got on with them. Okay. If they were awesome, if they were difficult, if I was, didn't understand them, if some little note on it just to remind you what they look like and the station that you were in, the time that you were working. And also, very importantly, I mean, this is just a mess, really. Like overruns and things like that, So you can say, "Oh, I've had an overrun." You put the incident number in, you put the overrun in, and at the end of the month, you get to write in your overrun, so you get extra money for overtime. Incidentally, also, if you are moving your car, you're taking your own car from past your base station to training. Okay, you're able then to put down for petrol, okay, for petrol expenses, which is on a different website. Okay, the trust will give you your overtime spreadsheet website to put in your times for overruns, even if it's 10 minutes. Okay, write it in there. They will also give you a website called ECA or something, where you can put your expenses of your petrol. Okay. And I would definitely do that from day one, from the day that you start training. If you go past your base station or even go to training anywhere else, write it in there because, money's money at the end of the day. Okay, so what else we got here? So Keith says, I live in a very rural area of North Wales, driven on these roads for many years. First time in the ambulance, I got lost on occasion. So, so surreal. Yeah, it is. And, it changes also when it's pitch black and you've got to reverse. You'll learn that you must always use your banks person, get your paramedic to come out, ask them, say, could you see me back? It's not something that you shouldn't do. It's something that you really must do. And that's for safety for yourself and safety for them and safety for the vehicle, because if you hit the vehicle in an RTC or something, it's under your license, okay? So you've got to be super, super careful with that. And, there's paramedics out there who've done it, there's ECAs out there who've done it, it's human to make an error. So just learn by it, but make sure that if your paramedic is driving and wants to reverse, just ask them, do you want to see you back, okay? But you can only do that after you've taken your driving, your blue light driving tests. Okay, they'll show you how to bank a vehicle back. Mia says, what happened on your first day as an ECA? Did you get introduced to other people? Yeah, so the very first day, we went travelling to different stations just to see how you get into the stations. We also went travelling, if we had time, to different hospitals as well to see how you get into those hospitals. Because sometimes it's difficult, it's different to enter a hospital in a normal car than it is with an ambulance. So it's a good idea to figure out how to get there, what times they are, and that sort of thing. And they should, you go into the station and say, oh, hi, I'm new, don't bite. And you might find people who don't see you, or they say hi, or it'd be nice to sort of just try and make eye contact and smile, and and in time, just remember, everyone has been in that position before. Everyone's been a new person, okay? The new school in the classroom, the new person in the office, the new person on station. Don't worry, okay? Everyone's been there, all right? And they should treat you with dignity, respect, and understanding that you are very, very new and very, very green. In time, when you've been there for a few years and another new person comes along, you know how they feel. Okay, so but my first day as an ECA, I went into, where was I? I was Bournemouth at that point. And it's quite a large station, and I was terrified. I didn't know where the kitchen was, and I asked for it straight away where the bathroom was because I needed to cool down. But they were all lovely. They were sat down, and I think they were watching the television, having a coffee, people on break, and and you just try to mingle. I sat down, I had my dinner at the table, so other people had dinners at tables as well, and you just make light conversation, and then you might see them again on the road, and you just give them a wave. And if you work with them, and then you see them again at the station, you go, oh, that was a really good, that was a really interesting job we had, or oh, did you remember this one, and how did so you just make the conversation. Okay, so Zoya, wants to know, wants to do an apprentice for ECA, but she said, do you need a C1 or normal driving license? Okay, Zoya, for an ECA, you need a C1. Okay, definitely need a C1 before you start an ECA. Okay. I don't know what the apprenticeship ECA is. That's something that's not with our trust. If it's like an ambulance care assistant PTS, from what was said above by somebody else, you just need a normal license for that. For an ECA, emergency care assistant, you need a C1 license because it gets you to drive larger vehicles. Okay. Joe says, car license first, a couple of years experience, then you're eligible for C1, I think, at 21. Check with DVLA. Oh, okay. Well done, Joe. Thanks for that. 21 is it then for a C1 license? That's interesting. Okay. Okay, that kind of makes sense as well, thinking about it, because I think it changes the insurance as well. So, yeah, have a look at, if you're under 21, try to increase your driving, go for a PTS and increase your driving capacity a bit better. So make sure when you are doing a C1, you've got it. I believe, Joe, that you also have to do the theory and the hazard perception, I believe, now. I only know that the hazard perception side of the test because I took my CBT on my bike, and that's a brand new thing for me, plus the theory or the riding the bike. But I think the CBT asked for a hazard perception, which is on the computer. Is that something that they do for your C1 license, or is that completely different? I don't know who's got the answer for that one, but that might be something worth looking into as well. Okay, yeah, so we've done licenses, blues and normal lights. Yeah, so with the blue light training, they will teach you blue light. They'll tell you what exceptions are, which is part of the test as well. Joe says, yes, they are different for LGVs and buses. You need to do it again. Okay, so you're saying that you need to do a hazard perception. Is that right, Joe? Is that right, that you need a hazard perception for a C1? I'm waiting for him to answer. Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, so you do need hazard perception. Okay, so have a look. I know I've got an app on my phone. I've got an iPhone, and I downloaded a free app, and then I extended it to a paywall, I think, for about £9 or something. That has hazard perception test on it as a test for the test. To make sure you're up for hazard perception. And it's got lots of other things like you need for your C1, like your road signs and your questions about health and safety and stuff like that. So I really would recommend it as well. Plus, make sure you've got an up-to-date driving hazard book, your signs book. If you have a look at the top of my screen, up that way somewhere, you'll see 2 Amazon little circles where you can get your 2 books which you'll need for your driving tests. Make sure you get the up-to-date ones, and they are invaluable. So there's a little link on Amazon just in my little square box top right-hand side. Okay, right, so is there not an ambulance driving? Right, there isn't. Yes, there is an ambulance driving there. You have to. There's the blue light one, but you don't. The C1 is to prove that you can actually drive a larger vehicle away from the ambulance service. You C1 uses it for everything else as well. as a commuter. You can use it if you're working from home or if you've got a big, vehicle. But they need that in order for you to be able to drive the ambulances. So the ambulance driving test is the blue light test. So Joe says, I use a DVD to practice, really helpful. Yeah, DVDs are great. I find that sometimes if there's little changes on the DVDs for the years, you might have, obviously stopping distances are still the same, but there might be a new sign that they put up for some reason. So I always find things online it's probably better, like the GL Calc that we've got for our meds and things. If you have it online, it's going to be up to date all the time. On a piece of paper book, that can be outdated by little, by a small amount, and that could be the difference between passing and failing. But hopefully passing, hey. So Mia, so if I go and tell them and say I need a C1 for ambulance driving, will they show me then? I'm assuming you're talking about a driving instructor, Mia. So just go to a place, look online, and ask for a C1 license course. I think you do a Google search on there in your area or around near your area. You should be able to find something that does that. Yeah. I know it is possible because there's people from all walks of life, all over the place, from where I am, who got C1 licenses, and even the New Zealand guys that come over as paramedics, they took their C1 licenses as well, I believe. Yes, Mia. Yeah. So you need to C1 license first, 50, in order to prove that you can drive a big vehicle. Okay, as a normal standard driving. Okay, that's what you need as a basic. And then they'll teach you blue light driving. And then when you do that test, they'll give you a blue light emergency test certificate for that, which is the same sort of certificate as the police and the fire brigade use, because they teach you the SMART, S-M-A-R-T, way of driving by braking before bends, using the right gear, the right positioning. It'll all be explained, but that's what you're going to be tested on. Okay, it's quite an intensive course, but I said if I can do it, you guys can do it as well. Just keep, when you go back into your own car, just keep practicing what they teach you that day, and it will get in there, I promise you. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes left before 2 o'clock. Any other questions you guys got at all? Anything else? I'm so chuffed that you got this live feed working. Welcome to the 21st century, Freya. Do you have to show them you can drive a C1? You're not driving a C1. The C1's the license. Okay, they'll give you I believe they give you a piece of paper to say that you've got a C1 license, or it goes into your actually it's probably on your driving card, to be honest. It goes through DVLA and it comes up as C1. Let's have a quick look to see what mine says. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, but it says C1 in there. Okay, so once you've done your C1 license and you send it off, DVLA will then come back and give you a new card, and that will have your C1 license. And then once you've got that, when you go to your interview, when you go to talk to the people as an ECA or even a paramedic, you will go straight as a para, then show them your driving license, because you'll need that with your DBS anyway. Let's see what else is there. Yes, you have to show the ambulance service, Mia, your C1 license when you get it. Okay. All right. Other things I was thinking about is what if I was to go back 3 years and give myself some advice, what would it be? And I think if that's a question that somebody asked a while back, and I think I answered it. So my answer to that was make sure that you've got plenty of food with you. Plenty of water with you, because I find that I'm very dehydrated, and because I don't want to keep on jumping into people's bathrooms all the time. Some people's houses are beautiful, white carpets and all that sort of thing, and some you actually have to wipe your feet on the way out, sadly. But make sure you're as hydrated, and keep snacks with you in the cab, because sometimes it can be quite difficult to get back on time for lunch. Mia says, that was my last question. Thank you very much for the streaming. It's really helped me. Thank you from Zoya as well. You're absolutely welcome, guys. No problem at all. Yeah, just shoot me an email, Mia and Zoya, whenever you want. And if I've got it in my capacity to answer, I will. If I don't know, I always will ask and find out for you guys. Okay. It's been lovely talking to you. Thanks for coming on for the stream. Yeah, so when I first started, I didn't have enough food, and I was starving hungry, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So you can just jump into like petrol stations and grab food and things, but try and not eat sweets, and try not eat bulky stuff, because you can put on a lot of weight. It's not as active in the way of cardiovascular as a lot of people think. So if you're either walking up and downstairs or you're driving, it's very rare that you'll be on cardio, doing some CPR on people. And I've been fortunate or unfortunate that I've only had one so far in my 3 years, whereas other people have had like 20 or something. So make sure that when you eat well. Okay, so keep your greens going, if you have your fish and meat, make sure you've got plenty of water with you. Always make sure that you've got plenty of carbs with you as well, and try and not pig out if you possibly can do, because that's not good either. The other thing is, get a second pair of shoes. Go into work with a pair of shoes, leave your shoes there, take your boots from work, wear those, and then when you leave, put your boots back in your locker if you can, or put them in a bag. You don't really want to be walking around in your own house, or inside your own home, with anything on your boot that could be unpleasant, let's say, because you've come from a certain area, a certain location, a certain situation. You might have cleaned it but not seen everything. Okay, so I always leave my boots specifically at work in a plastic bag. I clean them with Clenel wipes anyway. It's just a bit more sanitary, really, because you don't know what you're stepping in, sadly. It's the same as walking up and down roads. I always take my shoes off before I come into the house anyway, but that's just me. So I always got a second pair of boots or a second pair of shoes. So I'll wear them to work, change into my boots, wear those all round in my job, then change before I come home again. I also, if you've got yourself a locker, try and get a locker as soon as you can in your station, if it's possible. If not, bring a bag, bring some shower stuff with you. Always bring a towel, hair, comb, shower stuff, because you might need to wash down completely for whatever reason. And it's good to have that there just in case. It's better to have it and not need it. Things like, I always bring a card with me. If I need some food, I'll bring a little bit of card with me, instead of cash, so I can get a quick snack if I'm really that hungry. Work-wise, pad of paper, pen, if you can't do it on your phone. Just put down any questions. If you want to learn something, if you found something completely, wow, that was really amazing, write it down. Write down the experience, learn it if you can. And that's a really good way of keeping a diary of what you've done, what you've learned. So Joe says, I think being an ECA, then going probably forward, would be a good step for me. I just don't know how I'll react to major traumas and unpleasant side of the job. Did you feel similar? Yeah, I did, Joe, absolutely. I know some people who, within the first week, went straight into a cardiac arrest, and they were completely green, didn't know what to do, had an idea they had to jump on the chest, and that's it. Not literally jump on them, but hands. But yeah, you will feel that way with major traumas. If that major trauma is your worry, if the sight of blood's your worry, then it's something we don't do often, but we can do. I always have a nasal stick, a little, what's it called? A vape smelly. So if I've come from a position where there is a lot of blood everywhere, I come out of that situation and then I give myself a little sniff. So it gets rid of the iron smell. Other things, if you come away from a DOA or dead on arrival and they've been there for a while, it's going to be in your nose. So you come out of there and you give yourself a sniff. So it's, there's some things like that can turn you, but you take the good with the bad. But most of our bread and butter stuff really is people on the floor picking them up. Is the diabetics, it's the chest pains, it's the shortness of breath with COVID. We do get cuts and bruises, we do get major trauma, but you'll have a paramedic with you always. Okay, if you're WCA, you work together and you call back up anyway. So my main worry is peds, it's little babies that can't breathe, and that terrifies me. So I'm trying to learn as much as I can to get over that fear. But every paramedic has a little sort of flutter in their stomach. It's just that they're swans. They look really graceful and calm, but underneath their feet are going like this. Believe you me. Okay, so Zoya's fab at big traumas and emergencies. She's so good. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. You might find you have a go-to place which you'll feel very confident with, as well as comfortable. I've worked with a paramedic who is an amazing guy for calling for trauma. As soon as he's on scene, you think, oh, great, no matter what's going to happen, it's fine. But when I asked him about it, he was absolutely terrified. He said, oh, my heart was going like this. I thought, oh my gosh, you look so calm. But he didn't feel calm. He didn't feel confident in himself, but he was, And that's a really nice thing, because the patient will see that. The patient will see that you're calm, even though inside you're fluttering. If you're jumping on someone's chest and trying to bring them back, as it were, when they're defibbing him, or defibbing them, as long as you can concentrate on your job and be seen to do your best, you can be fluttering inside, but on the outside you look professional. That's perfect. That's perfect. So Trevor says, one of the big obstacles I found in person you may be working with for 10 hours. Unfortunately, there are some less unpleasant. Yes, there is, Trevor. And I've had a few myself where you just basically don't click. Whatever happened, they might have a chip on their shoulder, they've been in the service far too long, or they've just started and they think they know it all. They think ECAs are just bag carriers and drivers, which we are not. Okay, we are an integral part of the service, and be proud of that always, always. I've even had paramedics tell me off, thinking, "Oh, I'm only ECA." No, we're not only ECAs. We are ECAs. Okay, be proud of that. But yes, if you find that you are working with someone who is very difficult for whatever reason, do your best. Make a note of what's happened. If it's really awful and you think, actually, no, I feel very uncomfortable, see if you can chat to them. What's going on. Did they have a good day? Have they had a bad day? Did you do something that they were expecting? Maybe find out. And if they will completely not talk to you at all, then have a chat with someone else, impartial. Okay, don't mention their names. Just say, if I work with somebody that is really not committed to me and I'm not talking and X, Y, and Z, what can I do about it? And if you find that you're having to work with them again, by looking on the GRS, see if you can do a shift swap if you're feeling that terrible about it. But it's one of those things. The trusts are so big, though. You might have them maybe once or twice, and they might have them on an off day. You might have an off day, and they think, "Oh, crikey, that person, what's going on then?" And a second time around, actually, it's fine because you have an off day. But it is difficult. I completely agree, and I've had the same with a couple of paramedics and one ECA. I think they were at the time. So it happens. We're all humans. We all think differently. We all feel differently. We just have to try and get on in the 10 and 12-hour shifts that we're with, and it can be a very long day. But yeah, we have to get on with it, sadly. That's the thing I struggle with, is with peds. Everything else I can cope with. Oh yeah, Keith, I feel for you there. Yeah, I think, but if you get to go to maternity and maybe work with maternity for a few days and see how they do it, I think the more time you work with peds, potentially the more confident you can get. Because at the end of the day, if a baby comes out and is not breathing, they're not going to have a heart problem. It's going to be hypoxic. They're going to need air. They're going to need something. And then just blue light it. The power will sort it out, and you just blue light it as safely as possible to the nearest hospital. Okay, we're almost there. Lauren, are your shifts 12 hours or do you have 8 hours? Well, because I was on a rota, Lauren, I was on a 10-hour days and late. So my latest I finished at the time was 2 o'clock in the morning. Like tonight, I've got 4 till 2. But when we go on to relief, it can be between 8 and 12 hours. So they'll give you a decent amount of time to know what hours you have, if it's 8, 10 or 12 at a time. Trevor, thank you for addressing my comment, Freya. Fantastic live stream. Oh, thank you so much. Have I passed then, guys? I really want to do this as often as I can. So what I'll do is, if there's questions that keep on coming up, it's the same questions, obviously I will answer them as soon as I can. I'm going to do another video soon. I'm going to be changing the front entry, what's it called, video, to something slightly different, obviously, because I'll be changing to a student paramedic very soon. And then I'm not going to be changing this channel and stopping and putting a new one on there. I'm going to continue the student paramedic vlog on this channel. So you'll see from the very beginning, from ECA starting all the way up to now, all the way up to student paramedic and beyond, I hope. So for my own personal viewing, it's going to be a good little diary for me, and for also you guys, anyone else interested, you can see all my highs and lows. Have a good shift tonight. I hope you keep yourself real safe. Thank you, Keith. Right, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to be leaving very soon anyway, so I need to get changed, and hopefully my hair's drying up after my shower. And I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for coming on board. I'm, heartfelt thanks for that. Guys, please keep safe. Make sure that when you drive safely, and just be careful of yourselves and your paramedic and your other ECAs out there. Thanks for doing your channel, Fred. You're such a positive person. It's awesome. Thank you, Joe. That's very kind. Lauren, thank you. Love the videos and streams. You're very welcome, Lauren. Okay. Right. Keep safe, everyone. I will see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye for now.